Good day everyone. We are going to be doing a flight in the Viking Air Limited de Havilland Beaver. A plane that was first manufactured in 1948 by a Canadian company, de Havilland. And this vehicle, we're going to use the world map to do a flight plan, but this aircraft would have, if it was still flying today like this one is, gone through some restoration and excellent maintenance over the years because it's no longer being manufactured. But it is a workhorse for bush pilots with a powerful engine, and it can take quite a payload. So let's zoom in and find out where we're going to fly in this plane today. And we are going to go to Bridgewater Day Springs Air Park. See if I can find it. Okay, there it is right there. Just zoom in. This is the Have River. So this is the Bridgewater Day Spring Air Park, and we're going to set that as our departure. Now that's a very short runway, so it'll show you the versatility of this aircraft being able to take off on a very short runway. Now the nice thing about it is it has landing gear plus floats, so you can take off on a runway at an airport and you can land on a water aerodrome. So we're going to actually be flying to Paces Lake. My brother Alan's going to be flying with me. He's going on a fishing excursion with his buddies. We're going to fly up to Halifax Airport, Halifax International. We're going to land there. Then we're going to fly to Paces Lake, Nova Scotia, and we're going to land on Paces Lake where he's got a fishing camp. They go trout fishing there in the backwaters. So they get some excellent fly fishing there, and they have a great time. So let's go to Halifax next. Show you how to create a flight plan here to do this type of flight. We're going to click on here, and I'm going to drag that over so I can see. Click on it again. Set that as my arrival. Okay, and I'm going to fly into runway 32. Now, we have to find Paces Lake, and I'm doing it this way so that I can create a flight plan to the lake. And here's Paces Lake right here. So the fishing camp's right in this area here. It's an area we call the Run, where a river runs down into the lake. So we're going to fly over Murray's Island here, where my brother Murray had a little fishing camp, and then we are going to swing around and land here and then cruise on up and drop off Alan's buddies for the fishing trip. So let's click on here and add that point. So now we've got a flight plan here. So I want to go forward in time, so I had to do it this way. If I went to here and then clicked on this as our final destination, I wouldn't be able to go forward in time. I've tried it, so I want to shorten this flight. I don't want to do like a 1 hour flight to Halifax. So I'll show you how that's done. So let's get ready to fly, and I'm going to change the time of year here. It's actually January right now in Nova Scotia. I'm going to move it ahead to the springtime. And I'll show you how to do that, and you can change the time of day. So here we are in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. There's Day Springs. There's our plane. There's the Have River over there. So here we are. Alan's doing the co-pilot job for us and handling air traffic control, which frees me up to fly the plane. There's your rudders, and you can press Control W and you can see they'll go up and down. I'll show you that later. So we're going to get ready to fly. Now, because we're starting on the runway, the checklist has all been done for us. So this plane has been set up to fly right now. The flaps are already set for takeoff. And here's your throttle. So it's on idle right now. And I control my joystick with that. And then you've got all your regular gauges. I'm not going to go through them all. But if you wanted to go to checklist and do a checklist, you could actually cold start this plane and go through everything, but it's quite lengthy to go through, but fun. We've got a little Garmin system over here, screen, where we could follow our flight plan that we've created, and we've got all our standard gauges. Now, a couple things I do want to show you, besides all these other fun things that you can find out when you do the checklist, is I'm going to press Control 3 and Control 4, and here is for the water rudder. So if you click on that with my mouse, go outside, you can see they're down now. Now I'm going to go inside again, and I'm going to click on it again, and they're up. So you want them up for takeoff. Landing gears down. Now there's the parking brake right here. So I'm going to click the parking brake to take it off. And panel lights, I can put those on. They've got some of these other lights already turned on for us, so everything's sort of done that you need to take off. So here's a little VFR map, and you can get that on again during flight just by clicking this out of the toolbar up ahead. So there we go. We can see where we're going. So let's just get ready to fly here. I'm going to go Control 1. It's going to take us up to the roof there, but I'm going to drag with my mouse down so we can see out the front window. We're ready to roll. Okay. I hope you enjoy the flight with us and watch the takeoff. You can see how easy this plane lifts off. So, terrific little bush pilot plane for landing in short runways, grass runways. So I'm up to about 80 now. I'm just lifting back gently and pulling up, and off we go, heading into the wild blue yonder. Okay. So you can see what direction I have to go here. I have to turn to go that way. There's our flight plane right there. So I'm going to turn. Now for climbing, I'm just going to bring the flaps up one. So they're at 7% now, and then I'm going to bring them up all the way.
Viking 107 is type de Havilland 1 miles northwest of Charlie Delta Yankee 6,800 feet. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace. Viking 107 Moncton Center. Squawk 6372. Squawk 6372 Viking 107. Viking 107 radar contact 1 miles northwest of Charlie Delta Yankee 61,400 feet. Cleared through the Bravo airspace. Maintain on navigation. Cleared through the Bravo airspace Viking 107.
Okay, excellent job there, Alan, handling air traffic control for us. I'm going to bring the flaps up all the way now and get us on track here. So, off here you've got the beautiful Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Nova Scotia. I'm going to show you behind us there. There's the LaHave River and Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, right in this area here. And you can look at the ground here and see the beautiful rendition by Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's our plane. And you can look underneath and get a good look at the landing gear here. Oh, we've got 4 tires here and 1 on the nose. Alright. So that flaps are up full now. Alright, so rather than take the full length of time to fly to Halifax, we're going to do a little something that they have working really well now in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's called Travel To. And I want to travel to the approach, so it'll get us really close to Halifax, and we'll just skip the in-between part. So I click on that and I say yes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pause it for a second once we get flying here.
Viking 107, did you hear my last transmission?
So I'm going to have to acknowledge the transmission here.
Cleared to land runway tree 2 Viking 107.
Okay, I'm just going to press the pause button right now, just for a sec. I want to show you, I mentioned that we're going to change the time of year. Okay, so let me just show you how to do that. So right here, I can change the time of day. I can make it around 1 p.m. and then I can go forward in time to April. So sort of get the daylight hours you'd have in April. So we're getting close to the airport here. Let's see. There's the airport right there. So this is runway 32 right here. So you can see it saved all that in between flying time for us. So I am just going to go inside the plane right now, get our view out the front window, and take it off pause. And now we are going to gradually turn and head towards runway 32, get our altitude down. Right now we are at 2,000 feet. So I'm going to have to put my flaps down and my landing gear. Okay, so we're doing great here. So I'm just going to put the landing gear down now. And if I zoom in here, you can see for landing, that's where the flaps have to be. So I'm going to use my joystick, get the flaps down. So I'm just going to get you a view from behind the plane here. You want your rudders up for sure. Also, you don't want to damage those. And you want to get your speed down when you land. Hopefully around 50 knots. So you can use your mouse here to get an idea where you're going here. Make sure you don't get your speed down too much here and stall. I'm going to keep it at about 1,000 feet for now until I get in position. Okay, there's the runway. So we're holding at about 1,000 feet. Okay, I'm going to cut my speed back a little bit. Okay, keep it around 60 for now. Alright, so we're going to bring her in and try and land it very gently on the runway. Then we're going to cruise on over to the terminal, pick up Alan's buddies who have flown in to join him on this fishing trip. So they're all pretty pumped. I'm not sure if he's got Bill Elliott, Ron Jean, who's coming on this one. We'll find out. Alan will tell me when we get there. Right now we're focusing on landing the plane safely. Just cutting back a bit. Getting our altitude down. Okay, so you want to just glide in nice and gentle, level off with the runway. So we're at 800 feet. I just press B, barometric pressure, to make sure I have the right altitude. B on the keyboard will set up your barometric pressure. So nice long runway, so no need to rush things. Just come in nice and slow and just touch down. There we go. And braking.
Viking 107, exit runway when able.
Okay, so we're going to just go up here, get off the runway, go over to the terminal, and pick up some passengers. And then we'll fly to Paces Lake. You'll mainly catch trout in Paces Lake. Some sea trout that come up the river from the ocean, and some lake trout. Now Alan and his buddies like to do the fly fishing in April or May, so
Viking 107, turn next taxiway.
so maybe I'll change this time to May, so we get the mayfly hatch. We're just going to go up to the terminal
Viking
here.
107, contact ground on 121.9er.
So I'm going to skip the
121.9er Viking 107.
I'm going to skip the part where they take us to the gate and everything, because it might be a long ways to the gate. We're just going to swing over here on our right and pick up our passengers. And let me just see here. I'm going to change that to May. There we go. Get the mayfly hatch in. Okay, so we're going to stop here. I'm going to show you how to open the doors on this plane, because I noticed some people are having a little bit of an issue getting the doors closed once you get them open. So we're going to go inside and just go to the door handle and click it, and the doors will open on both sides. I've been able to get the rear doors to open, but probably it's not a available function, because using the normal commands like Shift E and then 3, the doors don't open. So we pick up our passengers. Welcome everybody aboard. Well, there's a pretty good cargo space back there for the fishing gear. Our buddies can all sit in these chairs. You can take 4 in the back, and along with Alan. So Alan, you can easily bring 4 of your buddies fishing with you when we use this plane. Okay, we're ready to go. We're going to take off now for Paces Lake. So I'll show you how you close the doors, which everybody seemed to be firing emails back and forth asking. Just go ahead forward and the doors close. There we go. That easy. There is no button. You just have to proceed forward and the doors will close. Alright, we're going to go over to the runway, and we are going to take off. I'm not going to go through all the air traffic control stuff to take off. Just to speed things up here. Now we don't need a lot of runway for this plane, as we saw in Day Springs there in Bridgewater. So let's put the flaps down a bit, and away we go. And once we get up, we got to bring up the landing gear, because you don't want to forget that when you're trying to land on water. You'll have a bit of a disaster on your hands. Okay, off we go. Now how do we find Paces Lake? Bring the flaps up a little bit.
Tower Viking 107 is 1 miles northeast 600 feet with whiskey to land. Viking 107 Tower. Altimeter 29.9er2 wind calm, enter left traffic runway tree 2. Make left traffic runway tree 2 Viking 107.
So I'm just doing, showing you around a little bit of the inside of the aircraft here.
Viking 107 wind calm, cleared to land runway tree 2. Cleared to land runway tree 2 Viking 107.
So there's your landing gear. So you can press G on your keyboard, and it'll pump and bring up the landing gear. So let's just go have a look here. Okay, the landing gear is up. Okay, so we're good. Now, where is Paces Lake? Well, looks like that's where it is in that direction there. So I'm going to bring up our little map here, sort of like a GPS map. See where we are here? So I'm going to have to take a look out the front window here. Okay, and get us headed over towards Paces Lake. So I'm just going to follow our flight plan, which we created, which was originally directly to Paces Lake and then Halifax, but we're just going to do it the other way around here because it works better in Microsoft Flight Sim. And now you see as I get closer to that line there, I'm going to be able to turn. I'm just going to go outside for a sec. And now we're at 4,000 feet. I'm going to start to descend. Make sure our flaps are up all the way here. You know, we've got a gust of wind there. Now we're heading out to Paces Lake. So you can adjust your trim. This is Paces Lake right here, right there. You can adjust your trim on this plane to decrease your vertical speed. So I'm putting the trim down. Watch your airspeed. Don't get into overspeed here. So you can see when I trim down how much we're going down there. But I want to get my altitude down. So I believe this is Paces Lake right here. So you get a good look at the terrain here. So we're going down pretty quickly there now. I got the trim down 13% right now. You can see it's leveling off though. So I'm going to trim down a little bit more because I want to keep descending. But to give you a good idea of the layout of the land here, all the different lakes. Wow, this is Porter's Lake right here. There's a lower, middle, and upper Porter's Lake. So my brother Murray lives right down here somewhere on Porter's Lake. And he had a fishing camp on a little island on Paces Lake here for I don't know how many years, a long time. And we went fishing there and had such great times and great memories. Somebody bought all the property, and the guy that owned the little island that Murray had his camp on sold the property. So eventually Murray had to give up. Fishing was a little bit sad. Okay, we're going to cruise on over, continue dropping our altitude. So we'll fly over that little island that Murray had his camp on and then swing around, come back to the run where Alan rents a fishing camp each year. So you can see all the lakes up here. So those are all great little spots for fishing trout. Freshwater and some sea trout that make their way up there. So there's great fly fishing here in the spring when the mayflies hatch. And once the mayflies hatch, you won't catch these fish much on a lure or by trolling in a boat. So we're getting really close to Paces Lake now. So the real challenge now is going to be landing this thing on the water. And we'll see how hard that is to do or how easy it is to do. I'm just going to press a button on the keyboard, see air traffic control. So I'm just going to say cancel landing.
Tower Viking 107, cancel landing intention. Viking 107, your cancellation is received.
Yeah, then they won't be asking us. Now, if we want to go to the nearest airport, which would be Halifax, they get us back there again. So I'm just going to leave that off for now. And we are almost at Paces Lake. So Alan, take a look down below there. You can see the lay of the land and the lakes and the area where you go fishing. Some of the roads in there that give people access to their fishing camps. So the fishing camp that Alan rents doesn't have actually a road that accesses it. So it's sort of like locked. You would have to pay some rights to some owners who own roads leading into the lake in order to bring your boat and launch it, etc. So when we were kids, there's an old logging road here that came down to the landing, and we were able to just use the lake whenever we wanted. Nobody gave you any issues. But once this land got bought up around the lake, suddenly, if you didn't have a camp with a road leading into it, you couldn't get to your camp, or you had to pay some rights to do it. Now the run where Alan goes fishing and has a camp that he rents, it's right here. Now it's not going to show up, unfortunately, that little camp, because it depends on how well Microsoft has rendered things. But the lake itself is great, and there are some little camps and buildings that are authentic. So we're here now. I'm going to turn off this navigation map so everything's visual from here. So I'm going to start descending. So over here is what we call the potato patch, and there's a little island where Murray had his camp on for so many years. The little river runs down into this lake. I think that's Scott's Lake. I think that's the name of it. So we had a camp here for years, an old logging camp that you could use. It was sort of like public domain type of thing. So we used to fish there with our dad many, many years. We did that as kids growing up. Okay, so we see some little buildings on that island, it looks like. So we're going to turn around and head back now to land. Geez. Now I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's Murray's little island there that he had his camp on. So I'm heading back, get ready to land. So I'm going to put down some flaps for landing here. There we go. You saw that little flap gauge going. Okay, so we want to get our speed down here. So we're getting a little stall warning. Okay, a little windy, a little gust of wind. There's some fishing camps there. Okay, so now I'm going to try and gently bring this thing down for a landing on the lake over towards the run. So we're getting down nicely. Barometric pressure. So we're just going to set this thing down as gentle as we can. There we go. All right, flaps up. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is press Control W. That'll put the rudders down. I don't know if you saw that, but they just went down. So you can do it inside like I showed you, or you can do it with your keyboard. So the run is over here somewhere. And like I said, just going to look around here, give you an idea. See, over here somewhere, when we were kids coming across here in our boat, we hit a rock. Because this lake level goes up and down, and sometimes the rocks are just submerged. We smucked into them with our boat. We're lucky we didn't freeze to death and all end up in the water. But it punched a soft spot. It was a fiberglass wood-based boat, and so it didn't actually punch a hole right through and leak. But it took my dad a long time to repair that boat. So the run is over here. This is an area we call the run. We used to troll around there for fish. So it's over here somewhere. So I'm just going to go over here and go right up to the shore, and then I'll do a pushback after we let everybody out. So in behind these trees here, we got a little fishing camp of Alan's. They've got canoes. They got all the gear. These guys got their act together. Sometimes they even have lobster here when they're having dinner at night. I get pictures from Alan. Alrighty, gently coming up, and we're shortly going to end the flight. I'll just show you how to do the push back and then we'll call her quits. Not going to bother. Well, maybe I'll take off. And you can see how this thing takes off in water as well. That might be a good thing to show you. Alright, now it's going to look like I'm going to run into the trees a bit, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to... Okay. Okay, stop. Everybody out. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great fishing trip. I hope you get lots of fish up at the run and in the backwaters. Have a great time. I'll come back and pick you up. Take you back to Halifax Airport and Day Springs in Bridgewater. Okay, so how to do a pushback. You just press Shift P on your keyboard, and that's just like Alan and his buddies pushing us off. I'm going to put the rudders up. So push, guys, push, push, push. Get your feet wet. As soon as I get out here far enough, I'm going to try. I can put those rudders down now and see if I can steer. Yeah. So we'll do a takeoff here. I'll bring the rudders up again. And then we'll call her quits. Okay, I'm going to end the pushback. Shift P. Alright, so see if I can get this thing around so I can take off. Now obviously your landing gear is up. You don't want that down when you try and take off. I'm going to bring up the rudders. Okay, they're up now. Okay, we're flaps for takeoff. Oh, a little too far down. Okay, we're good. Now when I start going here, the doors should close. If they haven't already. Oh, I think they're already closed. Okay, here we go. So, I'll show you how to take off in this thing. Just get her going so it's starting to lift out of the water a little bit. Just like that. When you start seeing it there, just pull back when you see that there's not much of a weight behind each of those floats. And we are off. And bring your flaps up just one.
Approach Viking 107 is type de Havilland 7 miles northeast of Charlie Foxtrot for 300 feet. Request flight following.
Viking 107 approach. Squawk 3604.
Squawk 3604 Viking 107.
Viking 107 radar contact 8 miles northeast of Charlie Foxtrot for 1,000 feet. Altimeter 29.902.
Be on your keyboard
Roger,
for your
Viking
barometric
107.
pressure. Okay, nearest airport. So we'll fly back to Halifax. Or maybe we'll go over to Fortis Lake. And see my brother Murray. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for joining me on this flight. I hope you had a good time. I hope Alan and his buddies have a great fishing trip. And join me some other time on one of these flights. I'm going to fly around some of the lighthouses that are famous in Canada. I've already done the one in Newfoundland, which is great. So long and